Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Linda. Here on this channel, I share videos about sewing, pattern drafting, and everything fashion. On today's tutorial, I'm going to be sharing with you guys the part 2 on how to make this asymmetric corset you're seeing right here on the screen. If you haven't watched the part 1, I'll suggest you go ahead and watch it first of all before coming back to watch this part 2. Now, if this seems like what you're interested in, you might want to hit the subscribe button and tap on the notification bell for more videos like this. Let's dive in. Sequel to the part 1 of this video, I'll be transferring these patterns to my fabric. So I made little adjustments by removing ½ inch on the front loops. So next thing I will do right now is just go ahead and arrange it on my fabric. As you can see, I've already added the inches and the allowances that's needed all around it. Although I have 3 more patterns left, I'm going to cut that out separately because there's no other space around my fabric since I have a pattern I'm already following. Now, before you start cutting, make sure you know the right and the wrong side of your fabric. Although I am cutting on the right side because I don't want to make mistakes and get confused since there are so many patterns. At the top, I left ½ inch sewing allowance, and at the sides, I left ½ inch joining allowance. So on this side, which is around the waist part, the side seams, I left 1½ inch because I added my general sewing allowance. Remember these 4 patterns here is the back. So this is the side seams for the back, and then I have ½ inch in between. This is the middle part, okay, where the loops will sit in. I gave 1 inch there, and this one is the other side. At the hemming part, I gave ½ inch hemming allowance. The same thing I did for the back piece is what I'll be doing for the front, okay. So I'll go ahead and cut them out before cutting out the rest of the front piece pattern. I also have my lining piece, and then I have my hairstay. So I'm going to double the hairstay multiple times after cutting everything out. So guys, after I was done cutting out everything, all the total of the patterns I have here are 10 in number. I just have to arrange them in the same pattern I drafted them. So the next thing I did was to cut out my lining piece for all the patterns, and I also cut out my hairstay for each and every one of them. So as you can see, I padded my hairstay about 6 consecutive times and it's thick already, as you can see. And the next thing I'm going to do right now is just to go ahead and start stitching up my patterns. So for the center back, I'll go ahead and join them by ½ inch together with the side back. So I'll do the same thing for the other side as well, and then I'll repeat the same thing for the lining piece as well. After I am done with the back piece, I will head over to the front piece and repeat everything I did for the back. So to get this perfectly, the trick here is just to stitch the side front to the side back together to form one alliance. This is what I mean by stitching the side front to the side back. For this type of corset, the 2 front pieces are not stitched together, likewise the back piece. So guys, I've gone ahead to press it very nicely after joining all the pieces I have, and I also included my boning casing. So I just cut out a long piece of fabric and I stitched them on the place I want to insert my boning. This is the side seam. As you can see, I've inserted my boning casing around the other parts that has joining, except for the nipple to nipple seam lines, which runs on top of the bust point. So your boning casing can be different from mine. It really depends on where you want to insert it, but please don't insert it on top of the bust line. You can just play around with your boning and see where you want it best seated in. So guys, the next thing I'll be doing is to insert my boning casing and see if it really passes through where I want it to be. So I inserted one here. I'm just testing it for now, and I love the outcome. I will have one here, and one here, 3 for these sides, except for the bust line, okay. Also on the other one, I'm going to have just 2, one here and one here, making it up to 5 boning channels. Now, if you don't see any plastic boning around, go ahead and make use of your regular boning. So I'll go ahead right now and iron this very flat and do the same to the lining piece. While ironing, I decided to secure the upper part of some tough area with my hairstay, and I also did the same thing on the bust area. So after I'm done, I just went ahead to cut it out and trim out all the excess fabric I have on the left side of the corset, and I also did the same thing on the right side of the corset. Just like in the part 1 of this video, I specified clearly on the left and the right side of this corset. So if you can master that, you are good to go with this tutorial. So this is the lining piece for each side. I'll go ahead and place each lining piece right side to right side facing each other with the equivalent one. So this is the lining piece for the left side. It's facing right side to right side. And then I placed the right side lining with the right side of the corset, just like I did for the other one. And then I will go ahead and stitch it by 1/2 inch and then close this part. The upper part and the sides are going to be closed, except for the lower part. I'm going to leave it open because I'll turn it over from there. So this is what it looks like after I was done. As you can see, I have my hemming gum stitched together with the seams. I'm just going to turn everything over on the right side. So guys, this is what I had after I was done ironing. As you can see, the only place left to close is the lower part. I left it open because I want to insert my boning into the channels I created. Right here are some of my plastic boning. I'm going to be inserting them right away. Remember, I have one here and I have one here. I have one also around this part. So I'll go ahead and insert them with the measurements I have for the pattern. And I'll be making it shorter by 1 inch. I'll also do the same thing for the other side. So guys, this is how it looks like after I was done pressing and turning it inside out, and after I was done inserting my boning. So I've gone ahead to stitch it by 1/2 inch all around, leaving a little bit of space to hand stitch it finally after turning it inside out. And then I'll be done with the stitching. So the total amount of space I left to hand stitch is about 5 inches wide. If you feel it's too small for you, go ahead and make it about 6 to 7 inches so that you can be able to turn it inside out properly. So guys, these are the eyelets I want to make use of for the front and the back piece. So I'll be making use of the number of eyelets that's same as seen in the picture. I'll be making use of 4 dozens of eyelets because there's a lot of eyelets on the front and the back of this corset. So this is what I had after I was done inserting my eyelets, and this is how beautiful my corset is looking. The only thing that binds them together on the front and back is the lacing. I'll be using a bias strip to create a lacing for it for both the front and the back side, and it's going to look like this when putting it on. There is also a sleeveless camisole and undergarment that is worn underneath this corset to prevent it from revealing the boobs. That will be all for this tutorial. So here's the sneak peek of the final result. It's so beautiful and I'm already loving it. As you can see, if this video has been helpful to you, kindly hit the subscribe button and turn your notification bell for more videos like this. I'll see you guys later in my next video. Bye for now.